right, Eric, thank you. Well, a group of parents filed a lawsuit over Tennessee's school voucher program, arguing it violates the state constitution by diverting public funds to private schools. Joining me via Zoom is Melissa Brown, the bureau chief of Chalkbeat, Tennessee. Thanks for joining us, Melissa. First, explain why those parents believe the voucher program takes away from public school funding.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. The ACLU of Tennessee filed this lawsuit late last week, a group, I think, of 10 parents, some in Shelby County, some across the state. And the lawsuit centers a part of the Tennessee Constitution that they're calling the Education Clause. In that clause, the Constitution requires that the state legislature maintains and supports, quote, a system of free public schools. And that clause is sort of also says that the General Assembly may establish and support institutions of higher education, like public colleges in the state, as it determines. What it doesn't say is anything about supporting a private school system, and that's really what this lawsuit is focusing on. They're arguing that by giving public dollars, taxpayer money, diverting that to private schools, that the state is violating that portion of the Tennessee Constitution as it provides this Tennessee Freedom Scholarships Program or voucher program.
Besides the violation, have any of these parents expressed any greatest threats they fear may be affected by this funding?
Yeah, I think as you read the lawsuit, there are a couple of different parts, different points that they're making. First, they're saying that this public funds that are now going to private schools via these kind of education scholarships or vouchers. One, they're saying that could go to the public school system, and they're arguing that the public school system in Tennessee is already underfunded, and they're basing that on educator feedback from districts and teachers who say that they need more state funding to kind of properly run their schools. And they're also highly critical of private schools in general and the program because while there are some accountability measures, private schools do not have to offer things like the state standardized tests that public schools have to. And so the groups that have sued and other critics of the voucher program say there is limited accountability in these private schools that are receiving public funds. And they also raise concerns about the ability of private schools to enroll or choose not to enroll the students that they want, and how that may affect some students with disabilities, for example. There's a Blount County father who is part of the lawsuit whose son has Down syndrome, and he is expressing concerns in a lawsuit that private schools can legally choose not to educate his son, and that has been a concern of critics of the voucher program, I think, throughout the debate and as it has been enacted in the state.
All right. And so what are state leaders saying about the lawsuit? Anything?
They haven't said a lot yet. A spokesperson from the governor's office, kind of said they were confident that the courts would side with the state over this. Obviously, it's very early days. The state will respond to the lawsuit filing at some point in the Davidson County Court in which it was filed. But right now, it's kind of limited in response. I do think this lawsuit comes amid weeks of state Republican leaders, including the governor, saying that they want to move forward and expand this program, which they'll be able to do while this lawsuit is going on. The lawsuit has asked for a preliminary injunction, which would mean that the court would stop the state from implementing this program while this lawsuit plays out. That's likely an uphill battle, given that there are 20,000 students that are currently receiving these funds and are in private schools right now. But again, it's kind of early days, and we'll see how this plays out, especially come next month or in January when the General Assembly is back in session, and we'll be considering expanding this voucher program.
So what do the parents in this lawsuit hope to accomplish ultimately? Do they want the voucher program to go away altogether, or just want specific changes made?
Yes, I think the initial request is that preliminary injunction, but then also a permanent injunction. And so they are seeking to just completely block the state from continuing this program.
All right. Melissa Brown with Chalkbeat. Thanks so much for talking with us today about this subject.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back.